Okay, so now we are live. So what I want to do first is I want to come in here and I want to open up my InDesign, and I want to show you very quickly let me see if I can get this thing to move over a little bit. And that's Stacy. Hello, Stacy. How are you tonight?
I'm fine. How are you?
All right, very good. Thank you. I'm moving this over so you could maybe see it a little bit better. I'm going to go view, zoom out. Okay, so basically, I got to move it over again. Huh. So basically what we have here, it'll let me. It's not, yeah, it's not going to let me. All right, so I'm stuck right here. Basically, what we're going to be doing, here's my pages, and I'm bringing it out. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting up a 4-page document, and we're going to be doing 2 of the pages this week. So there's the 2 pages. There's this page here, and there's this page here, which this page here actually turns out to be page 3, I believe. So I've got it in the wrong place, but that's not terribly difficult to fix. So I'm just giving you an idea of what we're going to be looking at tonight. We're going to be talking about this. I guess it's a logo, but it's not really. It's more of a masthead. We're going to be talking a little bit about that masthead, and we're going to be preparing that masthead to bring into this document. Plus, we got a bunch of pictures here. And what we need to do, and I'll go to the second page, there's another picture. What we need to do is we need to kind of figure out what we want to do with these pictures. There's a couple of things that you need to understand about this. When we work in InDesign, we are working in CMYK color. Now, there is CMYK color, and then there is like spot color. Spot color usually means that there's 1 or 2 or 3 colors that are going to be printing. Usually, if you go beyond 3 colors into 4 or 5, it doesn't really make sense to just go with 4 or 5 colors. It makes more sense to go in and then go 4-color process. And today, 4-color process is extremely common. So it is something that once it was extremely expensive. Now, by comparison to what it might have been at once, it isn't really that expensive anymore. So this is 4-color process printing. We need to have our pictures the right size, the right resolution. I don't know what you guys know about image size and resolution as far as pictures are concerned, but I do intend to try to show you a little bit about that tonight, okay? I'm also going to talk to you about this banner up here, or this masthead, and I'm going to show you how to properly prepare that. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at Adobe Illustrator for a little bit, and we're going to be looking at a little bit of Adobe Photoshop. Then we're going to come in and I'm going to show you how to put the document together, and we're going to work on doing some of the layouts in this document. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I want you to save this document so that you send it to me, which means essentially I'm going to go in and show you how to prepare this as an Adobe PDF file. Because this week you're working on these 2 pages, and next week you're going to be working on another 2 pages. You also have an assessment this week, and let me see if I can figure out what that assessment is. I think there's an exam. There's also a CV insert, which I don't have here, but it's a similar kind of a thing. It's a 4-page CV insert. The major difference is the size of it. I don't know who that is, but whoever that is with the noisy background, could you close your mic off? I guess it's Christopher. That's you? Yeah. Let me see. There we go. Okay. So listen, guys, here's the deal. Everybody's got their mics muted. I just want you to know that if you have a question, feel free to unmute your mic and ask me the question at the moment that you have the question, okay? So, Christopher, unmute your mic.
Yeah, I unmuted.
You understand?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so after you're done, you keep it muted. If you have a question, any one of you do just like what Christopher did, unmute your mic and ask me at the time. I don't know whether you have a question or not. I like having the mics open so you can ask me on the spot. But the problem is that when you got noise in the background, it really impacts my presentation, and that I want to try to keep as clean as possible, because there's a lot of people here tonight who are not going to be watching this, and they want to have a fairly clean presentation of this. All right, so this is what we're going to be working on in a little while in InDesign. Let me close this down for a minute, and let me first go into Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to go File, Open. Let's see if I got it here. Yeah, no, I do not. Let's go Open, and I'm going to go into week 2. Hold on a second. Let me find it. I think that's it. Yep, week 2. And I think what we're looking for is Sky News logo. Hit OK. Open up. Come on. OK. View, fit artboard and window. All right, let's zoom it out a bit. Zoom it out. There we go. All right, so there is my Sky News logo. Now I want you to notice right off the bat, I have my swatches panel out here, and there are no colors in the swatches panel. And the first thing that I want to make you aware of is the fact that this needs to be in CMYK. There's 2 colors here. There's this blue and there's this red, and I want to make sure that they're in CMYK. So how I do that, it's very simple. I come over here and I click on the blue, and notice that my fill there turns blue. Can you see that? And I'm going to click and I'm going to drag that and drop it into here. Now I have that color in there, and if I sit over top of it, can everybody see it goes C equals 100, M equals 90, Y equals 10, and K equals 1. Question?
I can't see that far on the screen.
You can't. Okay, hold on then. Let me see if I can drag this over a little bit.
If you go on the top of your screen where you see you're viewing the screen and you have a more with a down arrow, you can click on the more and then it goes fit to screen.
What, this?
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Where do you see fit to screen?
It's on my screen at the top. It's right, and it's centered at the top.
Everybody that's viewing.
Yeah.
Yours, Mrs. Sweeney.
I'm sorry, I'm not. Where are you telling me to go here?
Oh, no, it's on our screens, not yours, because we're the ones watching your screen.
Okay,
so if
so
we can change the resolution on our screens to show your full monitor instead of just zoomed in on a specific part.
Okay, so are you guys all straightened out now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Okay. All right, so basically, let me move this over a little bit. So basically, this color is CMYK, so that's correct. So I'm going to click on this guy here, and now it goes red. And I think if I go here, I can go New Swatch, and it opens up the swatch panel, and I can see that this is also CMYK, and it is also process color. So I want you to make special note of this. This swatch that I'm putting in there will be CMYK as its color mode, and its color type is process color. That is exactly what we want. Process color and CMYK. Are there any questions about this?
I do have one question.
Please go right ahead.
If it was what is it, RGB?
Right, watch. Right here. There it is. It's RGB.
Okay. So all we would have to do is just switch it.
Yep. You saw me do it. I'm going to go to CMYK. There you go. So all you want to do is you want to make sure, if you have to, for instance, if this was RGB, so let me set it to RGB for a second and hit OK. And now, it's still setting. You know why? Because here, I think I got to change the other as well. Let me double click on it, get it to open up. Jeez. See, there we go. All right, so let's go in here and let's click on this. Yeah, see, it's defaulting back. All right, let's see here. And preview. It's still saying as CMYK. It's really not changing back. But anyway, if this were, and it's defaulting back to CMYK. So at this point, the color is CMYK. But your question, it's exactly right. If you had those colors in RGB, what you would do is, and let me show you something else. Do you see that little out of web warning? Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the deal. If you see that out of web warning, that's telling you that the color that's right there will not work on the web. Which is not a problem for us because we're going in print. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because when you open this up and look at this, if you were in RGB, it could be possible that you would see an out of gambit warning. And I think it would be a yellow triangle with an exclamation point in it. And it would mean essentially that the color that you had would not work in process color. And what you'd have to do is you'd have to click on it. I'm not going to click on this because I don't want to change the color. But you'd click on it and it would throw it into a color that would be in gambit. Okay? So these are some little things that you should know about. But the bottom line is you want it to be in CMYK process color. I'm going to hit OK. And both of these now are in CMYK process color. They were anyway. So we're really in good shape with this. Okay?
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that little box that shows up, is that what that image is for?
You're talking about this?
That's, yeah, the box. No, the next, you have the two red squares on the left.
Here?
Yeah, that little box right there.
Yeah.
So anytime you see that box, that's what you're talking about? Or is it just
here's what you have to know. The one that I'm looking at right here, if you sit over top of it, it says out of web color warning. So in other words, what that little icon is telling me, that the color red that I have there is not a color red that is part of the web color range. It is not correct. And if you look very carefully, I know it's hard to see, that color is a little tiny bit different than that color. And what this would do if I click on this, which I don't want to do, if I click on this, what it would do is it would change that color to that color and put it in the web range. But we're not working on web. What we're looking for is the out of gambit mark for print. And there's another one here. I don't know whether I can make it appear or not. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see, I'm not getting it. There's another one that comes up and I'm not getting it. It's just not happening. So, but there is another one that would come up. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want to change that color. At any rate, if I double click on this, there would be another one. It looks like like a triangle with an exclamation point in it, and it would also have a little square next to it with a color in it. And if you see that when you're in RGB and you go to convert it to CMYK, you would click on that, and it would convert to color that would then be within the scope of or range of CMYK process color. Okay? So I'm just telling you the few things that you want to look at when you're working with these colors. Okay?
Okay.
Are we good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to hit cancel on this. So now we have our colors in here. That's really what we're doing. We're really checking these colors. And if you remember when I first opened this, there were no colors in there. There was just the registration color and there was just the none color. So now we have the two colors that we are going to be using in our logo. So what I want to do now is I want to convert this piece of art into a piece of art that will go into my production. There are two different types of file formats that I can use, and I think I mentioned them last week. One of them was an EPS, an encapsulated postscript. Do you remember me talking about them last week?
I think so.
I wasn't here last week.
All right. And well, did you remember me mentioning it in the recording? Did you watch the recording?
I did.
Maybe you might have remembered. All right. The other one is a PDF. So essentially, here's the thing: we can use an Adobe Illustrator file in InDesign, but it's not really a good idea because then the printer might have to do some work on it. So the thing to do when you're importing assets from a program like Illustrator or Photoshop, which we're going to look at next, the thing to do is to make sure that we bring those assets in a format that's best for the particular use. And in the case of Adobe Illustrator, EPS this is encapsulated PostScript, and PDF, which is the other version, portable document file, which you guys have already made PDFs and sent them to me. Those are the two that we would use from this program. So I'm going to go and show you how to create the EPS. I'm going to go File, and I'm going to go to Save as a Copy. And there's my Save a Copy dialog box. This is going to be my Sky News logo. I'm just going to remove the word copy from there. And I'm going to drop this down, and I'm going to change it from Illustrator AI. I'm going to change it to Illustrator EPS. Do you see where I am?
Uh-huh.
Illustrator EPS. And I hit Save. And Illustrator EPS and TIFF 8-bit color with a transparent background. I don't really need a transparent background, but I'll just leave it set that way. It's okay. TIFF 8-bit color is basically what you want to keep this at. Illustrator EPS 6, you want to keep this at. I'm just not going to change. Oh, embed fonts. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, these fonts are outlines. So I don't even really need that anymore for this piece because they're outlines. Do you know what outlines are? Creating outlines from text? Does any of you, have you ever done it?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you know. You're turning them into graphic shapes. I'm going to hit OK. And now it's writing the EPS format. And actually, I forgot a step. Let me go back and do it again real quickly. Save as. And I'm going to change it to an EPS. And I'm going to go to my desktop. And I'm going to put a new folder on the desktop. And I'm going to call this INDESIGNFILES. Yeah, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start doing everything. I save everything into this file so that I can show you as we go along what I'm doing. Okay? Double click it to open it. And it's Sky News logo EPS. This is what we just did before. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to save it exactly the same way just to get it in there. Okay? So now what I've got is, where are we at? Let me find it. InDesign files. I think that's it. Here we go. I'm going to leave this open. So there you have it. That is my encapsulated PostScript file. It is a graphic file format that is used to bring that graphic into InDesign. The other one that we're going to use here is, open up Illustrator. The other one I'm going to use is I'm going to go File, Save a Copy. And this time it's going to be, I'm going to remove the logo again. And it's not going to be an EPS time. This time it's going to be a PDF. And I'm going to make sure that it's in the same folder. And I'm going to hit Save. And here is my Save as Adobe PDF. I'm just going to use Illustrator default for tonight. And I don't need to preserve, well, I'm going to leave preserve Illustrator editing capabilities. I don't need marks and bleeds on this. And I'll tell you why. This banner head is going to go into our page. So we don't need any of these printer marks when you're using it in a page. Okay? So I'm going to leave the marks and bleeds unchecked. Go back to General, and I'm going to hit Save PDF. And now if I go down and take a look, I have a PDF file and an encapsulated PostScript. Both of these are essentially a piece of art, and I could use either one of them in my newsletter. Okay? Any questions? Everybody good?
Good.
All right. All right. So I'm essentially done with Adobe Illustrator. Now what I want to do is go back to this for a second, and I want you to take a look at this piece of art. When I click on that frame, the art is 4.9667, and let me get my pad, and I'm going to make a little note here. All right, hold on. All right. So the width is 4.96. 4.96. I'm rounding it. Okay, so I'm really just taking a look at the size of that. That's the plane. All right, and the girl is 2.43. 2.43. Girl. All right, and this one here is 2.38. Yeah, 2.38. And I'm going to go to this page, and there is the plane, and the plane is also 2.34. I'm sorry, 2.32. Do you guys see where I'm looking up here? I'm selecting the photo, and I'm looking at the width of it right there. Okay? That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get an idea of how big these photos are because I want to demonstrate something to you. What I want to show you is how to prepare these pictures correctly to go into this program. Okay? Any questions so far? We didn't do very much, but you get the general gist of what I'm doing here?
Yes, sir.
Okay? Everybody?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to leave this open because in a minute you're going to see what we're going to do with this. I'm going to open up my Photoshop, and I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to come into my, did somebody have a question? Me too. And I want, let's see what I want here. I got my vintage plane, my newspaper. I'm not sure what's what here. Airplane 1. All right, I'm going to open Airplane 1. Hit Open. And yeah, okay. So there it is. There's the picture, right? Now here's what I want to show you. First of all, I want you to take a look up here. See at the top here? It says airplane.jpg at 66.7% RGB. So the very first problem that we have, now you have to understand something. You guys are downloading or receiving these same pictures, and they're going to be the same as what I have. So what I'm showing you is how to fix these pictures so that they will be correct to go into your publication. The way this picture is right now isn't exactly correct for your publication. So part of the process here is for me to show you how to prepare the assets that you have to go into your publication. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So what we're going to do first is, this is RGB. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it to CMYK. So it's very simple. We're just going to go up to the image menu. See where? Can you see where I am? Are you seeing my entire screen okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to go to image, and I'm going to go to mode, and I'm going to change it from RGB. See where the check mark is?
Yeah.
I'm going to change it to CMYK. It's going to pop this up and say, do you want to do this? Essentially, yes. Hit OK. Now look, it says CMYK. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up to image, and I'm going to go to image size. And I get the image size dialog box. Now there's two areas here. You've got your pixel area, and you have your document area. Since we're going to be working in print, we are going to focus on the document area. Now, the first thing that's wrong with this picture is the resolution is too low. The resolution is 150. The resolution needs to be at least 300. So what I want to do first is I want to change the resolution to 300. Now, pixel resolution is what gives your image detail. So by having it set low like that, you're going to have a kind of blurry, not a very clean looking image. Now the problem is I can't set this to 300 at 7.5, but that's okay because all we need is 4.96 inches. So while I do this, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to set the width to 4. Where is it? I'm going to set it to I'm going to set it to 5. Okay? So I got a resolution of 300 and a width of 5. So are there any questions about what I'm doing so far?
Nope.
Really? Good. Now, there's one other thing that you might want to consider doing. Since we are going to be reducing this, we will drop this down and we will look for bar cubic sharper, and it says best for reduction. It's a subtle little thing, but it does help. So I'm going to choose that as my algorithm to reduce this. So it's going to be a width of 5 inches, which is slightly larger than we need, and the resolution of 300. The reason I'm able to increase the resolution is because originally this was like almost 7.5 inches, and I will have enough data to make that exchange down to that size. Okay, so does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to hit OK, and the image is now converted. So what I want to do here is I want to save this in a file format to go into my InDesign file. All right. So to do that, I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to drop this down, and I'm going to look for TIFF, Tag Image File Format, TIFF. Click on TIFF, and it's going to be Airplane 1 TIFF, and I'm going to save this again in the folder so I can put everything in the folder and show you what I'm doing. Where was it? It was InDesign Files, right? Yeah, I think that's it. And I'm going to hit Save, and I'm not going to give it any compression, and I'm going to basically leave these alone. I don't really need to change anything here. I'm going to hit OK. Now if I close this thing down, you can see I have Airplane 1 TIFF file. So essentially what you're looking at here, you're looking at images that have been prepared correctly to go into my production. Okay?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
I worked on mine last night, and I got like all my photos in it, everything in there. Like, I went in and I changed them to CMYK, but I did not do the tip because I did not know about that.
Right.
Will it still be okay? Even I mean,
well, this is what I'm trying to show you here tonight is I'm trying to show you the correct way a graphic designer goes in and does this. You really have to look at everything. You didn't know that last night, so you went in and So the bottom line is that you did the job before you knew all the details.
Right.
Is it a real problem? No, but just bear in mind that in the future, before you go ahead and start throwing images in, you really need to take a minute and go in and take a look at the images to find out what they are and what potentially is wrong with them. Because see, what'll happen is if this was a real job, you would have to go in and you'd have to change all those images. Now, it could be done. You could go in and you could do that. What you could do literally is you could open up those images and do exactly the same thing as I did and then save them. And then all you'd have to do is go into your document and click on the image, the frame holding the image. Click on that frame and go File, Place, and place the new image in, and it would replace the old image with the new image. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, you can't click back on the image though and change it into a TIFF though once it's out.
What you might be able to do is you might be able to edit the image in Adobe Photoshop. Let me show you real quickly. So if I click on this image and I right click it and I come down here, edit with Adobe Photoshop. Okay, now watch, it's going to bring Photoshop up with that picture in there. Okay, so there's the picture. Okay, so this is what you would do if you've already done this.
Right.
Now this is plane number 2, and I happen to know that the image mode on this is also RGB. So the first thing that I would do is I would change this to CMYK and hit OK. Now, I'm going to demonstrate how to do this for you because you've already got this situation, and now you'll know how to deal with it. So remember, as I go along, if you have a question, ask me now because this is what you're going to be doing to all your images. And is it Carla or Brittany?
This is Catherine.
Catherine, okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, again, you're going to come in here and you're going to go to image size. The image size on this is, see, this has got a resolution of 200. It's still too low. It needs to be 300. There are 3 basic resolution defaults. There's 72 per inch, 150 per inch, and there's 300 per inch. For this, you would need the 300. So you're going to change it to 300. Since it's 3.5, it's going to go down to 2.3. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to make it 2.4. And then again, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go bicubic sharp or best for reduction. and hit OK. And now you see it's made those adjustments. Okay. And I'm just going to close this. Do I want to save changes? Yes. Now watch what happens. Okay, it's gone. I go back into here, and if I go to the window links, I should find that my links, well, it's not showing me that. It looks like it's updated, and looks like it's now correct.
Right.
It's like it automatically just corrected it, and there it is. Okay, but sometimes it may pop up a little dialog box that will ask you if it's been modified. Do you want to accept it? And you just click yes, and it will go in and it'll find it and it'll accept it. But it didn't seem to do that here, so that should be now correct. Okay.
Okay. I also now understand.
Here, I can show you something else.
Okay.
See right here where it says vintage plain JPEG. Okay, you see what it says there, CMYK? So that tells you right there that has been corrected and it's in there. Do you know why? Because originally it was RGB, remember?
Exactly.
Yeah, so there it is. There's your proof. I don't know whether there's any more in there. It just basically says status okay. So essentially it's telling you that I'm good. You made your change. I know what you wanted to do. I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, so that's for all of you, but do you think you understand that?
Yes.
That's
and
what
now,
you're going to do. That's, huh?
I also understand why you did not want the to sale ads.
With the props, the printer marks?
Yes.
There you go. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to go back in here to Photoshop, and I'm just going to do one more picture to make sure that everybody understands this. So this one here I'm going to close. I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to come up one layer. I'm going to go to my, give me a second. Where are you? Let's do one more of these to make sure everybody does understand what we're doing here, because you should do this. And the reason that you want to do this is because this is the right way to go. All right, so we're going to go to Employee. I think let's try that. And that is, yeah, there she is. That's the girl. All right, so this also, oh, this one is in CMYK. See that? So
yes.
This one is in CMYK, so I don't have to change that. But if you do, go to Image, Mode, and change it to CMYK. Just remember that. But what I'm going to do is go to Image, Image Size, and see again, this is 200. It's too low. I'm going to set it to 300. And the size of this is bigger than we need it to be. It only needs to be 2.4. And then bicubic, I'm going to bring it down to sharper, best for reduction. Okay? Everybody clear on that? Any questions? No problem?
No problem.
Hit OK, and it adjusts. And it doesn't change very much. It looks pretty good. But what you've done is you've increased the resolution and you've got a nicer picture. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go File, Save As. Where are we at here? Save As. And I'm going to save this to my desktop. And I'm going to go InDesign Files. And I'm going to change it down to a TIFF. And hit Save. And hit OK. And now I've done that. And there you have Employee 1. I'm going to change that name. I accidentally, okay, okay. I don't want that. I didn't want to open it. I just want to change the name of it to Girl 1. Make it easier. Change it to Girl. Girl 1. That just makes it a little bit better. So I got Airplane 1 and I got Girl 1. I got my Sky News logo. Now, there are a couple of other pictures in here. I'm not going to bother changing them. I think you guys understand that it is important to do that, and I really would like you to do that in all cases. So do you all understand all of that? And do you have any questions about any part of it?
Okay, on the logo?
Yeah.
It seems like it looks, okay, even though it was an AI file,
yep.
The logo just, is it supposed to look that kind of rough? I mean, Okay, now that one looks clearer. What
Oh,
did I?
you're in InDesign. You're talking about in here?
Yes.
All right, I'll tell you what's going on.
Okay.
You are looking at your display performance with.
Oh, that's why.
And if you go, let me go to the first page. See that looks like that? Is that what you're talking about? Yours looks a little bit like that?
The little like notches and stuff.
Yeah, if you go to view, display performance, high quality display, there you go. See how it cleans it up?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let me explain what that is. It's just basically a power saving device. That's really all it is. It's a power saving device. It uses less RAM to display it that way than it does to display it this way.
Okay.
All right. So that's all it really is. So
Okay.
yeah. So any questions so far? Okay, so I'm not going to go on with the Photoshop thing because you guys, I think, get the idea. It is kind of important for you to know that when you're producing something like this, we are going to be going to print, and the file formats have to be certain file formats, and you need to have CMYK, and you need to have process color. So you have to go in and you have to make sure that all of your image files and all of your graphic files are displaying the correct kind of coloration. Otherwise, what's going to happen is at the very end of this project, what you're going to do is you're going to package this. And when you go to package it, you're going to get a lot of errors because you're going to have things that haven't been converted. And then the printer, you'll either see this and fix it, or you'll send it to the printer, and the printer will send it back to you because it won't be correctly set up. So it's really important for you to understand that there's a certain procedure and production that goes into creating a proper document for print. So part of this is how do you work with Adobe InDesign, but you also have to know that when you're working in Adobe InDesign, there's a very specific thing that you're trying to do. And you want to make sure that you're doing all that right, or you're kind of wasting your time. All right?
Now, Mr. Sweeney, would it have been better to do the logo in the TIFF or the PDF?
This, you're talking about that masthead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The reason that you don't use a TIFF for that is because it is not a pictorial image. It's a graphic image. Okay. And a EPS file or a PDF is a much better file format for that particular type of graphic. Whereas if you're working on a picture element like any of these three things, a TIFF is better for that.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just really a question of doing the right thing with the right kind of image. Anything that is a graphic-y kind of image like this, you want to use an EPS. And a PDF is kind of a universal, it's a newer universal kind of file format. And it works very well. So PDFs are widely used today. That's why I did it as a PDF, and that's why I did it as an EPS. The same thing applies with this down here. I did not do it as a PDF, but I could have done it as a PDF as well. And I just want you to know that. It's important that the pictures have the right resolution. They should be about the right size, and you need to make sure that you can make them that size and that resolution, or you're not going to get a good reproduction, and the piece is going to end up looking like total garbage in the end. And that's not what you want. And as a designer, it's important for you to know these things. Otherwise, you know, I wouldn't be bothering telling you with it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Good?
Okay, now I've got one more question.
Sure.
On the text, what I did was, because there wasn't a Word document on the text, I figured out how to copy it out of Preview, and then
No, I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. What you can do is go to the type menu, and you can come down here and you can go, where is it at? Fill with placeholder text.
Okay.
All right, that's what that is. That's placeholder text. And what it is essentially, it's just fake copy. And it's more or less copy that you would put in for position. If somebody wanted you to produce this layout before the copywriter wrote all the copy, you would use this placeholder text, and then at some point you'd go back in and you'd replace the text with the proper article.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that, and you can go in and you can fix it. So I
All
think,
right.
I think I know what you were trying to do, but that's really
Yeah.
not the right way to do it. So the bottom line is that, you know, there's an awful lot of weirdness that goes on with this because it isn't really a correct document, and it
Right.
doesn't have everything that it needs to be a correct document. So, you know, it's a little hard to deal with, but I'm going to give you a lot of leeway with that because it is this way. I'm mostly concerned with you showing me that you're watching what I'm doing and you're understanding what I'm doing and you're submitting the things to me in the proper way. That's most what I'm concerned about here.
Right. And what I was paying attention to was from the short videos and from what you taught us last week.
Sure. Well,
On
I
the
mean,
text.
this is Catherine.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had InDesign before?
No, but it seems like I'm catching on to it pretty
No,
quick.
that's not the point. The point is that this is the first time a lot of you
Yeah.
people are looking at this program. So, I mean, it's easy for me to tell you what the program does. It's a little more difficult to go through the process of making you understand all that's involved in doing it right.
Uh-huh.
I have 4 weeks to try to do that as much as possible. So
Yeah.
what I will be doing through the course of 4 weeks is, as I can, I'll add a few new things to the mix, but I will try to go back and review certain things because I want to feel comfortable by the end of the 4 weeks knowing that there are certain things that I've kind of like managed to stick into your head and keep in there, so that when you walk out of here, you'll know that there are certain things that are necessary to do at the beginning of your project, and there are certain things to do at the end of your project to guarantee that when it gets to the printer, it'll be right, and you don't have a problem.
Okay.
All right?
All
Any
right.
other questions?
No.
No? All right. All right, so what I want to do now is, all right, I have my ads here. This is the next part of this. You guys remember these two ads?
Oh, yes.
All right. Has everybody done these ads? Is there anybody that hasn't done them? Everybody's done them?
I haven't done them.
You haven't done them. Who is that?
Tristan.
Tristan. Tristan, you got to go and you got to do these two ads. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. They're not that difficult. How many of you, or let me put it this way, have any of you, when you submitted them to me as PDFs, have any of you submitted them with crop marks?
Yes, I did with printer marks.
All right.
I did too.
All right. What you guys need to know is that when you submit something with printer's marks, it's because a printer is going to print that. And he needs that to trim it out. So if this thing was a business card, or if this thing was a postcard, then yeah, you would want printer's marks on it. But let me explain something to you. These two little ads are going to go into my booklet. Look it right here. See? There they are. They're going to go in there. So neither one of those two ads
Are ready yet.
well, they don't need printer's marks.
Right.
They're going to become part of a larger piece. Now, it just so happens that I created these two ads in InDesign. I could have gone in and I could have created these in Adobe Illustrator if I wanted to, but I didn't. I chose to make them in InDesign. So what I want to do is I want to export these as PDFs, and I want to export them with no printer's marks so that they will go into my publication. Is that clear?
Yes.
The key to this whole thing is understanding that whatever you're in, whether it's Illustrator, Photoshop, or InDesign, there are two things that you could possibly be doing. You could be creating something that's going to go directly to a printer, and when it's going to go directly to a printer, he's going to want the printer's marks on it. If it is something that is going to be used as a part of something bigger, then you don't want the printer's marks on it.
Okay.
Okay? Really, really important that you know this and think about this when you create things. Okay?
So should we go inside or into our document and then redo it?
No, because basically, you can see I don't have any of that information right here, right? And I don't
Right.
think you do either, right?
Right.
All right, you added them in the PDF, didn't you?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the process of exporting both of these. Yeah, see, part of this is I'm trying to show you how to do things right. The only way I can do it is by walking you through the individual elements as I get them.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to show you how to export these two ads. And I want you to understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go to my first ad there. And just so that you know, in this InDesign document, I did both of my ads as two pieces. There's the first one, there's the second one. So this is literally a 2-page InDesign document called ads. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So what I want to do is I want to export both of these as PDFs. And I don't want them to be in the same PDF. I want them to be as separate PDFs. Keep that in mind also. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I go to the File menu first, and I'm going to go Export, and I'm going to come down here, and I want to show you that I have PDF Interactive and PDF Print. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference between a PDF Interactive and a PDF Print?
The interactive is going to be interacting with additional text and stuff, whereas the print.
Like it might be for a tablet. If you have a tablet, you could go into a tablet and you could go through hyperlinks and go from page to page of your interactive PDF.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could go to websites if you put those links in. You could do all those things. If you have Adobe PDF for print, then it's just simply going to be a print document that is going to be used to go to a printer. And essentially what we're doing here. So we want to make sure it's not the interactive, but it's the print version. So everybody got that?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call this AD. I'm going to change this name because I'm going to make two now. I'm going to change it to AD_1. Okay. And I'm going to go to my desktop because I'm saving this stuff in a folder. And I'm going to find my InDesign files. And I'm going to hit Save.
Okay.
All right. And now I have this set up to high quality print. That's fine. And the range here, here's the key. There are pages here. Remember I told you I have 2 pages?
Yes.
Okay. If I don't do something right here, what's going to happen is it's going to print all of my pages or both of my pages into one PDF. That is not what I want. You understand that?
Okay.
I want to change it to range, and I'm going to go to, let's see here, custom. I want to go to 1. Okay, 1. See it? So page 1. See it? See where it says 1?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what I'm doing essentially is telling this to print page 1 as a PDF.
Okay.
All right. Now, over here, marks and bleeds, no printer's marks. Deselect it.
All right.
So that there's no printer's marks. It should look like that.
Okay.
Okay? Go back to General, Range 1. And I hit Export. And it just exported it. And when I come in here, this I can close down. I have my, where did it go? Didn't I get it? Where did it go? There it is. Okay, it was writing it. Took a little while.
Yeah, add one.
There it is. Okay?
Okay.
Now I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to double click on 2 and bring 2 up. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with 2.
Mhm.
File, Export, Adobe PDF Print. This is going to be, instead of add 1, I'm going to call this add 2, right?
Mhm.
And hit Save. And range, this one is going to be 2. That's all I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 2. So what should be happening now is this should be setting up an Adobe PDF called Add 2, and it will be page 2. And that's, see it, page 2. Got it?
Okay.
No marks and bleeds. Hit Export. And drop this down. There's my add 1 and add 2. Now let's take a look at these ads. I'm going to double click on this guy, and it's going to open up in, there it is. See it? And if I drop this down, there's only 1. You see what I did?
Yes.
And there are no marks and bleeds.
Okay.
So in this particular case, we do not want any marks and bleeds, and I just want my first ad. And it's the same thing with the second one. Double click on it. That's my second ad. You can drop it down. You can see there's only one page, and there are no marks and bleeds.
Okay.
Okay? So these...
I have a question.
Well, give me a second, because let me finish this up, and then I'll... The important thing for you to understand here is that there are very specific ways that you can work here with exporting files, and you need to know what is the correct way to export a file to do what you want to do. And PDF in a situation like this is a very good way to go. When I created these two ads, I created them in the same document, and now I'm exporting them as separate PDF documents that I can paste into my document one at a time with no crop marks. Who is that who has a question, and what is it?
It was me. When my name's April.
Hi, April.
Hi. When you were doing this one right here, the big sale, 25% with the hearts on it.
Yep.
Is that how you did the hearts? You did it in like Photoshop or Illustrator and then converted it over?
No, I didn't. What I did was I went and I used, I'll show you. Come in here, and I clicked on this, and I came up into the window. Let's see here. Type in tables, glyphs. I used glyphs. And if I open up glyphs, you'll get your glyph panels. And I want to show you something. You see where it says recently used?
Yeah.
Okay, there is the glyph that I used for that.
Oh, okay. That was
And
so
also
much easier.
notice that I used the star for one of the other, I think for the other one, that's the glyph. So I used glyphs. Essentially what glyphs are, they're little graphic elements that are part of your font libraries. And you get them by going Window, Type in Tables, Glyphs. And you can go in and you can choose, see this is Webdings. That's the one that I used. There are other ones that are in here. So like for instance, there's Wingdings 3, Wingdings 2, Wingdings. Yours might be Webdings. Yours might be different because you have a Mac, mine's a PC. But you will find these graphics and you will be able to use them, and that's how I did that.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, no problem at all. Any other questions? Okay, so there we have, let me just close that. So we have our elements. See how we're starting to stack up all the graphics? And it's in a file folder that will make it so that I know where all these things are. And notice that we have a PDF, a PostScript file, we have several TIFFs, we have PDFs, all of these different file formats, but every one of these file formats, the printer is going to have absolutely no trouble dealing with. And this is what I want you to start thinking about, and this is what I want you to start doing whenever you work in Adobe InDesign. Don't take anything at face value. Check it all out. When you have a graphic like that Sky News logo Adobe Illustrator file, I want you to think about it a little bit, and I want you to understand that you're going to do some conversions on it. You're going to make sure it's in CMYK process color, and then what you're going to do is you're going to export it as either a PDF, which I did here, or an encapsulated PostScript. Because Illustrator, those are the two file formats that are best for that particular type of graphic. When you're in Photoshop and you're working on your photos, you want to make sure that your resolution is correct. You want to make sure that the color mode is correct. So in other words, your image should be in CMYK and not any other, unless of course it's a bitmap, or I mean a grayscale image, which we don't use grayscales that often, so I don't think you'll have too much of them coming your way. So, and then you want to make sure that you export it as a TIFF file. And then what I did here was I basically exported these two ads as PDF files because they are kind of like little mini layouts. And they have all the elements in them of a layout, and they were in InDesign. And I wanted to show you basically how to do all these different things. So that's why I kind of did it the way I did it. So you think you guys can understand all this? Does it seem like an awful lot to you?
It does seem like an awful lot, and it is quite overwhelming, but it's easier with instruction.
Yeah. Just remember that you're actually trying to be very professional by doing this stuff. This is the key. You know, when you get something put in front of you, like pictures and graphics, and they're asking you to do a layout, what you need to do before you actually go in and start working on a layout is take a good look at the graphics and the pictures that they give you to make sure that they're in the proper order. And you know what? The same thing applies if you're working on a web design. You want to make sure that your pictures are in RGB and that when you get ready to put them in the layout, the web layout, that they're the right size and that they're the right resolution. And the right resolution for the web is 72 pixels per inch. So it's just as important for that as it is for this. And, you know, again, I throw this at you because it's, in my mind, from the very beginning, very essential stuff to know and do. So even if you're not an expert on all this stuff when you walk out of here, at least I've exposed you to all of it. So somewhere in your head, you know that these things have to be dealt with. Is that right?
Understood.
That's right.
Yeah. So, all right. So now we're going to move on to the next issue, which is going into InDesign. I'm going to close this because we're done with it. And changes, no. All right. I'm going to leave this open because we'll use this as reference. So the next thing that we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to create our 4-page folded newsletter. So it's very easy. Just go to the new document, open up the document, and I'm going to call this, I don't know, let's see if I can call it something. I think I'll wait. The intent is going to be print, okay? So this is going to be 4 pages because it's two-sided. So it's going to have 2 pages on one side and 2 pages on the other side. This is the front cover. That's essentially the back cover, and that's the inside spread. So you kind of get the idea. You understand what I'm showing you here? This is how you're presented with multiple pages in Adobe InDesign. Okay, any questions?
No, not yet anyways.
I'm going to change this to 4, number of pages 4. And I'm also going to check facing pages. The reason I'm checking facing pages is because we have facing pages right here. And we need to have them facing. So we check 4. It's going to be 4 facing pages. And the size of this will be letter size, 8.5 by 11. Okay? And the number of columns that we have here, we have 3 columns. See it? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to type in 3. And I'm going to set the gutter to be 0.125 IN. That's an 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to set the margins. I'm going to make the margins on this. I think what I made it was a they might have instructions. Hold on, let me see if they
There was a 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and a 0.75. One moment, I got it right here. Yeah, 0.75 was the bottom margin.
All right, so here's what you have to do in order to do that. Right now, you see that little chain link there? It says make all the settings the same. So if we're gonna do what you just said, then what we have to do is we have to deselect that. And what it does is it changes to a broken link. See it?
Yep.
Right.
Right. And now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come in here and we're gonna type in 5.5 top, bottom. We're gonna make this 0.75, and then the inside will be 5. And the outside will be 5. Okay? So essentially, we're talking about 1/2 inch to top, 3/4 of an inch at the bottom, 1/2 inch on either side.
And you had the gutter as 0.1875?
I said, is that what it's telling me to do?
Yeah, that's what it says here on the.
Then I'll do that. No problem. I'll do that. 1.875. If that's what it says to do, then do that. Okay? So we now have 3 columns. Check it out. I'm sitting in front of the one that I already did, and we're going to do a little bit of this so that you get a sense of how we do some of this.
Okay.
So it's 3 columns and 1.875. If that's the number they give you, use that number. I think I originally did this in 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. 1/875 is a little bit bigger. Then I got a top of half inch, half inch, half inch, bottom of 3/4 of an inch. All right, now the bleed and the slug. The bleed and the slug I'm going to leave at what I generally do bleed and slug at. A bleed is 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. There really aren't any bleeds on this particular document that I've come across yet, but I include the bleeds anyway because at some point the other 2 pages may require me to have a bleed. So I put the bleeds in. You guys know what a bleed is, right? We talked about it last week.
Right.
Anytime you have something that runs off the page, you want to give it an 1/8 of an inch of clearance so that you make sure that when you cut it back, it cuts back cleanly. So what we're going to be doing here is giving it a bleed all the way around of 1/8 of an inch, and a slug. Slug is for printer marks and for other things that we are going to be, including for the printer. I'm giving 3/4 of an inch of space for that. Good?
Good.
All right. Now, if I want, I can come here. If this is something that I'm going to be doing a lot, I can save it as a preset, and I can call this one 4-page. 4-pager.
Do it.
Hit OK. Now I have 4-pager, and you can see I have bills and bills cards, so I got a couple of others in here. So if I want to do a 4-pager like I'm doing, I just click on the 4-pager, and it pops up all of my information just the way I have it here, and I hit OK, and it creates a new document, and there it is. Okay, except that it looks like I ended up going the wrong way. So let's go to the layout pages. Let's see here. File, document, setup. Let's see here if I can fix this. 4 pages, start, size letter. I want it to be vertical. There we go. I'm just going to change the orientation. The orientation's not right. That's all. Hit OK. There. See, now it's fixed?
Right.
That's what it should look like. Okay? And it's got 3 columns. Any questions?
No.
So even if you make a mistake, like I did, you can actually go in, you can go document setup, and you can go back in and you can make that minor adjustment and fix it. All right, so this is the outside front cover, and this is page 2 and page 3, which is a spread, and then there's page 4, which is essentially the back cover. Now, what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to be working a little bit on, here is my finished piece. So I got that page done and this page done. I'm going to do a little bit of the work on this and give you an opportunity to see me put some of these things together and use some of the tools to get this stuff looking the way it does. I doubt very much that I'm going to be able to do the whole thing because I want to save enough time to show you how to export this to send it to me. And I want to get that all in as well. So I'm going to go to my first page here. This is what we're going to create first. So I go to my untitled document, go to my first page. All right. Now, as I explained to you, whenever you use InDesign, you have to create boxes for everything. Everything needs a box to put it in. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start off by putting my masthead in. So I'm going to click and I'm going to come over to the margin area and I'm going to drag myself a box. Oh, maybe about like that. Okay? File, place. And I'm going to come in here and I got my Aqua logo, tonight. Aqua logo Pantone. There's the AI Aqua logo. Oh no, I'm in the wrong one. I'm sorry. Hold on. It's not tonight. It's actually, that was last night. Here. InDesign files. There we go. Okay, so Sky News logo. There's the PDF. And the Sky News logo. There's the postscript. So what I want to do is I want to show you both of them real quick. So I'm going to click on Sky News logo postscript and I'm going to hit open and there's your Sky News postscript piece of art. And if I go to the view menu, display performance, high quality display, it looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so there's the first one. So I just want to show you that you can go file place and you can come in here and you can do the same thing with the PDF file and hit open. And it's just essentially substituted the file. See it? Sky News logo PDF. So you can use either one of those. It works perfectly fine. Now, the last thing I did is you notice that my box was a little bit bigger than my graphic, right? See it down here? So what I generally do is I go to the object menu and I go down to fitting, and I'm going to fit frame proportionately. And oops, no, I didn't want to, I'm sorry. Object fitting, not fill frame, fit frame for content. There we go. No, jeez. Object fitting, fit frame to content. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Sky News logo in place. So what I want to do now is I want to start off by saving this. I'm going to go File, Save. And this is the first time I'm saving it. I'm going to bring it to my desktop. I'm going to save it in my InDesign files. And I'm going to call this SKYNEWSLETTER. And it is an InDesign CS6 document, and hit save. And there you go. That's saved. All right. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is this. I'm going to show you how to do that graphic right there, because this is pretty cool. I'm going to create this right in Adobe InDesign. All right. Oh, you know what? I actually forgot a very important point. Hold on. Let me go back here now that I think about it. All right. So I'm going to go to the window menu, and I'm going to go to layers. All right. And we did this last week. Remember? Yeah, I create a new layer. And the bottom layer, I'm going to call this layer, I'm going to call this tracing. And I am going to move my graphic up to the layer right above it. I'll hit OK. Then I'll move the graphic up to it, and I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to call this work. So I got a work layer, and I got a tracing layer. I'm going to select the tracing layer. Let me go zoom out, view, zoom out, and I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to drag a shape, a box, and I'm going to make sure, yeah, I'm on the tracing, and I'm going to go File, Place, and I'm going to go and I'm going to find my, I think it's in my work folder, my class folder. Let's see here. I think it's this one. Yeah, week 2, and it is what is it?
It's newspaper 1.
Yeah, newspaper 1. There you go, right there, and hit open. Okay? So there it is, and it's on that layer. Now, the only thing that I want to do here is, remember, I wanted to make this partially transparent, remember?
Take the opacity down.
Object, Effects, Transparency, right? And I'm going to drop the transparency down to, say, around 30. That's probably good right there. And I'll preview it. Yeah, that's probably good. And hit OK. And now I'm going to lock the tracing layer. So now what I have basically, now what I have basically is I have a tracing layer that shows me the elements and where they're going to go and what they're going to look like. And I can literally go in there and I can put this together very quickly. Normally, you would not have this because you would be drawing this probably from, you would probably be creating this from scratch. But in this particular case, we do have these layouts to follow, and I think it will make it a lot easier for you. I think a couple of you said you were working on these already. Okay, did you do this process by putting these in to trace this?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let me go on to showing you how to do this, because this is cool. I'm going to zoom in like that. One more thing I want to show you. Let's see if I can find it. There's my colors. All right, so this is the same deal. What I want to do is I want to click on this, hold down the Shift key and click on this, and I want to hit the garbage can to delete all that. All right, and now I'm going to go View, Fit Page and Window, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to click on my color. Oh, it's locked. Okay. Oh, you know why? Because it's still on that layer. Okay. Click on this, move it up. Yes. Okay, there it is. It's not locked. Why is it telling me it's locked? Okay, so yeah. Okay. All right, there's my color. And what I want to do is I could probably come right over here and go new color swatch. And there it is, RGB. We don't want it to be RGB. We want it to be Pantone. I'm sorry, CMYK process. Okay, so it's the same thing. You want to make sure that the color that you're using, that you're sampling from here, there's the color, is CMYK and process, right? Everybody got that?
Mm-hmm.
Hit OK. There it is. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing with the red. Click on the red and drag and drop that right in there. Oh, it's not going to let me do that. So come here and go new color swatch. RGB, not RGB, it is CMYK process. And then hit OK. And now I have my two colors. Basically, we're going to use black, but we're going to be basically using these two colors. So let me show you how to create that shape. It's really pretty cool. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see this better. And I'm going to lock my tracing layer. Okay? So I'm on my work layer. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to drag the box out and create a box shape so that it covers the entire area. Okay? So you see what I did? It's a box shape that covers the entire area. All right? All right. The pen tool, somebody's, hold on a second, somebody's, mute these guys. There we go. I'm getting reverb, guys, in case you don't hear it. All right, so now that I have my box, I'm going to get my pen tool, and I'm going to bring the pen tool, add anchor point tool. And then I'm going to come out here with the add anchor point tool. And what the add anchor point tool will do, just like in Adobe Illustrator, it will allow me to put anchor points on my box. So I'll put an anchor point right there. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put an anchor point right there. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to place an anchor point right there. So I got 3 new anchor points. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and I'm going to get my delete anchor point tool. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to come over and I'm going to click on that. And look what it does. It collapses the shape right down to the shape. Isn't that great? Click on this. And
that's awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And now all I got to do is come over here and click on making sure that my fill is forward. Come over and click on the blue and voila, look at that. Gangbusters, huh? There's my shape. Okay? So now what I want to do here is I want to hide that shape. So let's see if I can hide that. Object, let's see here, hide. There you go. Because I want to set this text. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get the text tool and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag out a box. And I'm going to type in T-A-K-E-A. You know what? It's all caps. So I'll hit the cap lock. T-A-K-E-A-F-L-I-G-H-T. And I'm going to hit enter of discovery. D-I-S-C-O-V-E-R-Y. I type extremely badly, guys, so bear with me. Select my text, and I happen to know that I'm working with Myriad Pro. So I'm going to change that from
your M to a B.
Huh? Yeah.
Change your M to a B.
I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Myriad Pro. There you go. Myriad.
Oh, okay.
I'll fix it. And it's going to be Myriad Pro, and it's going to be bold condensed. And it's D-I-C-O-V-V-E-R-Y. Okay? Then all I need to do here is I'm going to make sure that my text is sitting basically at the top where the letters are. That's about good right there. And I might even bring it over about like that. It's probably pretty good. And I'm just going to start increasing the, I got to select the text. I'm going to start increasing the size of the text. See, all I'm doing is I'm going to increase the size of it until it reaches the width and the height that I want. And don't worry about the bottom disappearing. That's probably pretty good right there. It's probably a little bit too big. It's 29 probably. That's probably pretty good. Now what I'm going to do to get that bottom line back is I'm just going to drag the box open a little bit more, and there it is. Now I'm going to select these guys, and I'm going to change the height. So that's the font size. This is what's known as leading. Have you ever heard the terms leading before?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is leading, and what I'm doing is I'm basically I'm bringing the leading in, making it a tighter leading. That's probably pretty good. Now the other thing that I want to do here is this is what's known as tracking. And what I want to do is I want to track this out a little bit, and it looks like it's probably going to be about 12. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, probably a little bit more. Try 14. And that's 15. 15. Okay, so that's probably good. Yeah, that's pretty good. And also, this looks like it should be tracked a little bit differently too. So it's actually maybe 20. Yeah, looks like it's about 20. This is off a little bit, but you know what? I don't really think that matters very much. I think that'll look just fine the way it is. And again, remember, you're trying to get this as close as possible. So actually, what I might do here is I might move that up just a bit, and I may actually open up the leading a tiny bit here. 26, 27, that's probably pretty good right there. And I think this is probably close enough. Any questions about the shape that I did and this text? No? You're good? You understand what I'm doing?
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to drag another box. I'll deselect that text. And I'm going to drag another box out. And I'm going to create the second line of text, which is this. And that's going to be online. Again, I have the cap locks on, so I'm going to have to remove the cap locks. Hold on. All right. O-N-L-I-N-E, online group. And then I'm going to hit enter. And how, oops. The biggest pain in the neck of this is doing the typing. How to be ready. Okay, so how to be ready. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the text. I'm going to change it to where it is center align there, just like that. Once again, I'm going to change it to myriad M-Y, and it'll jump right to myriad. And this is regular condensed, I believe. Regular condensed. Where are we at here? Condensed? Yeah, here we go. Regular condensed. And this, again, I'm going to make the size of this. So I'm going to move it over, get this over here about where that is, so I can start increasing the size of that and get it somewhere close to where it needs to be. Select it all and start bringing it up in size, 12. And probably close. Let's see. Are we close? Let's see where we at here. Might be a little small still. Yeah, it's probably a little bit small. So I'm going to drag this open because we can adjust this in a minute. I'm going to select the whole thing, bring it up to 20, and probably 20 is close enough, I think. Probably close enough, yep. Bring it up in place, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the whole thing again, and I'm going to play around with the tracking. Bring it out. Move it over.
Do you have any Sharpies? What?
There we go. That's pretty close. And then what I'm going to do is come in here, and I'm going to set the... There we go. That's pretty close. All right. So now I'm going to go Object Show All. And there we have this. And all I need to do is select that text and change the color of it to white paper. Paper means white. And select that and change that to paper. Oops. Sorry. None. I'm in the wrong one. That right there. There we go. So now if you take a look at this, we have our box, and I'm going to click on that, object fitting, fit frame to content, and I adjusted the box. Object fitting, fit frame to content, and there you have that element. If I go to the view menu, extras, hide frame edges, now you can take a look at the elements, go to view menu, fit page and window, and now you get a sense of what this is starting to look like. So any question about setting that area up? If you really want the truth, the way that I handle text in this area here is almost largely what you're going to do with everything in here. You're going to use a font similar to Myriad Pro. You might not have Myriad Pro. I think you probably would have Myriad Pro, but Myriad Pro is what I choose. I think you could use Helvetica. I like Myriad Pro because Myriad Pro gives me the ability to have all these different fonts, you know, like the condensed and the condensed bold and all that stuff. So what I want to do now is I want to put this picture in here. That's my next step. And then I'm going to put this picture in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over here and grab a box, and I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to drag, and I'm going to draw out a box. So now I have my box. File, place. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to find this is really easy once you get rolling with it, and hit open. And there's my picture, and the picture is pretty much in there perfectly. Okay? Just that simple. I'm going to do the same thing right there. I'm going to come over and I'm going to grab a little box. I'm actually going to make my box all the way up to here, drag it down to there, and over to there. There's my box. And I'm going to go File, Place. And I'm going to get my group shot and hit Open. And this was one, just so that you know, this was one that I did not modify. Do you remember I didn't do all of them? This was one that I didn't do. So this is not the correct, if you look at what this looks like in the links panel, let's see if I can find the links window. Did I put them away? Here we go. Yeah, see, this is a JPEG and it's RGB. So you see what I'm trying to show you here? This one here is also RGB. So this one here is not the one that I used tonight. So actually I could come in and go File, Place, and I could go to the right folder, which is tonight's folder. I'll show you what I'm talking about. That is the InDesign. Let me find it. I got too many folders on my desktop now. It's starting to get messy. Okay, so it's Airplane 1 and hit Open. And there Airplane 1 goes in, and you see it, it didn't change much of anything, did it? But look, now it's the CMYK version. Okay, so I am just trying to make you aware of the fact that I've been doing this for quite a while. You guys haven't been doing this for quite a while, but in time, all these things that I can remember to do, you'll remember to do, because it's the same basic process no matter what you're doing. I don't care if you're making a 60-page book, whether you're making a postcard, whether you're making a poster, whatever you're making, you're doing essentially the same thing. And you're using these panels to make sure that you're putting the right stuff in. So is there any questions about any of this so far?
No, no questions.
All right. Now,
when we do them, it's fit content to frame, correct?
Fit
Content.
well, it depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, if you have a bigger frame, you're going to fit the frame to the content.
Okay.
It kind of depends. Now watch this. This actually, the photo was sized almost perfectly, so I'm in good shape with this one. But this picture's got two problems. Number one, the picture is in front of my little arrow, so I have to fix that, and the people are in the picture too big. So what I'm going to do is, using my regular selection tool, I'm going to come in and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to move that picture. I'm going to make that picture smaller. I'll hold down the Shift key to constrain it, and I'm going to start dragging that picture down until I get all those people into it. Something like that. And then I'm going to bring it down something like that. Okay? And now I got my picture more or less in the proper place, and I have my box showing. And I can now click on this box, Object, Fitting, Fit frame to content, and it reduces that down. And actually this over here is a little bit big, so I can clip a little bit of that off by shortening the box. Did you see what I did?
Mm-hmm.
That little bit of his shoulder was sticking beyond the edge there. By closing the box off, I've essentially cropped it. So now I got my picture here, I got my graphic here, and I got my text here, and I got my banner up here. I need my headline up here. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to drag this down a little bit, and I'm going to create another text box right here. This is a cool trick. And I'm going to type in today. Today in the sky. Now I'm going to select it. Myriad. MY. It goes to Myriad. A lot of times you can just choose a couple of letters for the first few letters of your font, and it'll automatically pop you to the right font. In this case, it did that. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to choose this as actually bold condensed. And now I'm going to start sizing that text. Bring the text up. It's going to go right on across the two columns. So it's quite big. Bring it all the way across. Keep going, going, going until it actually goes across. I don't remember what size it is. So, and now I notice that it's probably a little bit bigger than it needs to be. So let me drag that out and see. Oh, look at that. It's actually hit it right on the money. That's good. So I'm now going to bring it up a little bit. And there's my text. Because the text was placed after I put the picture, the text will automatically be in front of the picture, and all I have to do is bring the picture back up into position, and I have my text sitting over top of my picture. Cool? Everybody good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now there's something about this text and this picture relationship that I don't like. So let me show you a trick. I'm going to zoom into this, and notice that the picture is essentially over top of the text is over top of the picture. Let me zoom it out a bit. And one more time. There's my picture, and you see how it kind of like gets a little bit messed up with that picture in the background, that text? What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the text, and I'm going to go up to the object menu, and I'm going to go to effect, and I'm going to go to outer glow, and I'm going to apply an outer glow to this. And you can begin to see the outer glow coming into its own. I'm going to bring the amount of it up a little bit, and I'm going to see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Let's try making it 1. There, see how that's starting to look?
Mm-hmm.
Try 1.5. And see what it's doing? See, it's putting a glow around the edge of this. I'm going to go precise. There. See what it's doing? I don't like the precise. I like the softer. There. Can you see what it did? Can you see how it gave a little bit of a white halation around that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's essentially, I'm going to even change this to normal, and it even is stronger now. So what it does essentially is it makes that text stand a little bit better off of the picture in the background. So again, if I decheck that, you see it go away and come back? See what it's doing? Nice little effect. All right?
Let me ask you this. If I remember right, in the picture that they had for us to use like as a template or whatever, because what I did was made my own text box, and then I put the plane below it so that the text didn't mess with the plane.
Are you saying that you made a separate text box for the text, and then a picture box for the?
And then I dropped the picture below the text.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, I just happened to bring the picture in first. This program, from the standpoint of layers, this program functions almost exactly the same way as Adobe Illustrator does. It has a stacking order. So as you create objects, the objects that you create appear in front of other objects. So as I'm working this, I'm kind of working. I think you can see that I'm kind of working from the top down. So I started off by putting this in place. Then I put this in place, which was a bad move actually, because then this text had to be built. So I hid that. I just went to the object menu and hid that. And then I created my text. And after I created my text, it would then be in front of this object. So I unhid it. And then the text was sitting there. And all I had to do is change the color from black to white. And I had that. Then I put the pictures in. And then I put that text in. And because I'm doing it in that particular way, all the objects are falling correctly within the layer structure.
Right.
Okay?
And that's kind of like the way when I went and did it, the way everything was kind of built, I made sure that, like, when I took my pen tool and drew out my my design for Take a Flight of Discovery for the background.
Yeah.
I did that first, and then I dropped my lettering on top of it, and then I made the text boxes for it, and then I went on down, and yeah.
And it all worked out okay. Now here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. If I click on that picture, okay, I can go to the object menu and I can go arrange and I can bring that to the front. And you see what I just did? I brought that picture in front, and now you don't see the text anymore. I mean, this is the same stuff that you can do in Adobe Illustrator. So if I want to fix that, object, arrange, send to back, it's back where it belongs, and the text there. So if you do something like that, where you actually create an object and it should be behind another object, it's really easy. Just go to the object menu, arrange, send to back, or bring to front.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just think a lot of this is you're working with a program that mostly handles vector stuff a lot better than it does bitmaps. You don't do an awful lot with bitmaps, but just put them in place and display them. Okay?
And change the color into CMYK.
Yeah.
High resolution.
Yep. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of more tricks here. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to move on to the next page. I'm not going to finish this whole page. I want to show you text wrapping. So what I want to do is I want to create 2 copies here, and then I want to put that image in front. I want to show you how to text wrap it. Then I'm going to stop, and I'm going to move you on to the next page because, let me show you, because I want to show you a little bit about this page here. I want to at least show you how to get these images in and what that looks like. And I want to show you how to do that line. And then depending upon the time, because it's already 8:30, I want to make sure I have enough time to export this so that you can see what that looks like. So are we good so far?
Yes.
All right. So here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to very quickly zoom into this area down here. There we go. And let me move this out of the way so that you can see it better. And this too. All right. And I'm going to show the trace object. Oh, you know what? I'm in the wrong file. That's the one that I want. There we go. I'm going to zoom in on this. So once again, I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat here. I'm going to select my text tool, and I'm going to come over and I'm going to draw a box just like that. And now again, the problem that I have with this is I have to do some typing, and I'm terrible at typing. And this is probably the most strenuous part of the whole thing. T-R-A.
That's sad, Mr. Sweeney.
Huh? That's sad? I never promised you a rose garden. Sad. What a thing to say to me. Had a ruining night.
Don't blame me. I got it from Mr. Powell.
Yeah. Okay, so travel bargains for airline employees, and I think I spelled it right. Okay, Minion Pro, Myriad Pro. Y, it changes, right? And then I'm going to change it to condensed, bold, condensed. Okay. And I'm going to start sizing it. And I'm going to run it right across both columns. Okay? Keep going right across both columns. And it looks like it actually overran just a bit. Let me open this up and let me drag that over just a bit. There we go. And it probably needs to adjust some. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to track it down. Maybe that's too much. Let's try 5 and try that. And that's close enough for our purposes. Okay? Edit, copy. Wait, before I do that, let's do this. Object, fitting, fit frame to content. Thank you very much. Edit, copy. Okay, edit, paste. And I guess, let's see if I got it. Hold on. Edit, copy. There we go. Edit, paste in place. And I'm going to start. What's the deal here? It didn't do it. What happened? Edit, copy, paste in place. Copy, edit, paste in place. Okay, now it did it. I don't know why it was giving me trouble, but it was. And what I'm going to do here now is, before I even move it over there, all right, I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to change it to, I believe, it says the sky's the limit. THESKYISCHELIMIT. The sky.
A little bit small.
Right, the sky is the limit. Yeah, and I think I actually have caps in there. I'll fix it. So I'm going to bring this over. The sky is the limit. There we go. And bring it over. Get it in place. Yeah, and I think that's pretty good. So again, all I'm doing here, and I noticed that this thing is a little bit wider than it should be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it, and I'm going to bring it in 10, 15, it's 20. 20 hits it right where it should be. I don't really like to condense it that much, but it needs to get in there. You see what I had to do to get it in there? I basically tracked it in. You guys know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I click on the letters, select the letters, and I come over here to what's called tracking. What it does is it adjusts the space between the letters, making them tighter or wider. And I did it here at -20. Negative is a negative number, so it means my tracking is going to decrease, get tighter. If it were the other way, okay, this is -5. If I went the other way, watch. Actually, I have to select the letters. Hold on. Go the other way. See what it's doing? It's making it bigger. See? And now it just ran out of space. So if I drag this over, you'll see it got bigger. See how it spaced the letters out. Mm-hmm. That's called tracking. And I'm doing that because I'm trying to fit, and I think it was -5. Let's put it back to -5. And now it goes back. There you go. Okay? Object, fitting, fit frame to content. The same with this. Object, fitting, fit frame to content. Okay, so now I have my my two heads in their proper place, looking basically the way that they should look. Okay, so I just basically set them up, and I used a little bit of tracking. You guys think you can figure out the tracking aspect of this?
Mm-hmm.
I hate letting and tracking.
You don't like
me too. It's so aggravating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
it's
you know
click,
what?
click, 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 and then you're never at the right spot.
Well, you know how I deal with it? I do the click, 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 and I make it as close as I possibly can, and then I look at the number. And if it needs to go a little bit further one way or the other, depending upon which way I'm going, I just start changing the number. So let's say if it's 5, it's got to go to 6. I just type over -6, and if that's not right, I go -7, and I do it one point at a time until I get it where I want it to be.
Right, and you're not like I was trying to get it exactly on, like as close as I could.
Yeah.
You're just filling the spot, making it.
Yeah, roughly filling the spot. I'm not. Right. I'm not trying to make it. I doubt very much that most people are going to look hard enough to see that there's that little tiny space there. Okay.
Right.
So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean, if I wanted to, I could come in here and I could play with this and make it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what size I have this at yet, but I could come up here and I could make it -6 and maybe -6 would move it out enough to get it there. But I personally think -6 would go too far. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, I think I did it close enough. I'm just going to let it go like that. Okay? So what I want to do, I'm running out of time here. I want to quickly show you a couple of other things. And that is, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to drag a box here. And I'm going to select the box. And I'm going to go edit copy, edit paste in place. And now I can hopefully, it did it again. Boy, I'm having a bad time with this tonight. Edit, paste in place. I don't know whether it even did it again. Nope, it didn't. Control Z. Okay. Edit, copy. Okay. Edit, paste in place. I don't know whether it did it yet.
What I had to do was take it from the preview.
Yeah, it's giving me a real hard time pasting in this place. So I'm going to see if I can duplicate it. There you go. I duplicated it that way. I dragged it. And it didn't do that either. All right, so you know what? I'm not going to fool with this all night. I'm going to just draw another box. I don't know.
I think it's because you got your tracing layer locked, so you can't copy anything from it.
So anyway, what I want to do now is I want to connect these boxes. So I'm going to click here. And I'm going to come up here and click here. And I've linked these two boxes. Okay? So now I'm going to select both of these boxes. Oh. And I'm going to go to the object menu and type. Fill with placeholder text. Boom. And you see how, because I linked those two boxes, see that little square there?
Oh man, that would have saved me so much time.
Well, what do you think I'm here to do?
He's here to teach us.
Right. So I'm showing you these things. I mean, that's what it's all about.
I so wish I would have got the regular lecture last week instead of having to watch the recording, because it's so much different when you can actually see and be with you and ask questions and stuff.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I do allow the mics, because it really, I think personally, is better to be able to ask a question on the spot.
Yes.
Okay, so look,
Definitely.
Here's the deal. Just so that you know, you create two text boxes, and you come down with the box selected, and you click here, and you'll get a little icon that looks like lines. And then you go up to the next text box where you want to link to, and you click, and it automatically links those two boxes. Now, if I go to the View menu, let's see, I want to show, show text threads. Look, see what it did?
Yep.
So those two boxes are linked, and there is your proof.
Huh.
All right, so now I'm going to select it all. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to click on my text. Oh, boy. Click on my text. Control A, and I got all my text selected, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change the size to 10, okay? And I'm going to change the leading. I'll leave the leading like this. The problem is, though, that I need more text in here. So I'm going to go type, fill with placeholder text. Okay, there you go. So now I have enough text. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you how to text wrap this. So next thing I'm going to do is, and remember now, the text is already on here, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab this text, this box again, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to drag a box out for the girl, and I'm going to go File, Place, and I'm going to find my girl, and I'm going to hit Open, and there is my girl, and she's in her proper place. So what I want to do now is, with her selected, I want to go to the View menu, and I want to go to, let's see where we go here, Window, Text Wrap, okay? This is really simple. And I just want to wrap around the bounding box, and I want to see if I can increase the height of it a bit. There. Did you see it go away? Did you see that line go away? I'm bringing it back.
Yeah.
See it? by increasing the distance off the offset of the top, I'm giving myself some additional space here. Okay, you have to be careful because you're going to be doing it all the way around. If you just want to do it from the top, let me set this back to 0. If I want, to 0. If I deselect this, I can now just choose one direction to go in. Now watch me knock 2 lines out. I'm going to go up, 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 knock out that line, keep going. Look at what I'm doing. And there I've knocked out that line, and I've given myself position for that continued on page 3. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to create a little line that says continued on page 3, and then I'm going to show you something. So I'm going to drag a text box out over here. Click and drag a text box out, and I'm going to type in continued, CONTINUEDONPAGE, and then I'm going to insert a symbol. I'm not going to do this right now because we don't even have live text. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to start moving this text over top of where the picture is, and I want you to watch what happens. See how it
stopped.
How are you moving it?
I'm actually moving the text box over, but because it's the text box, because the text box is coming in contact with this photo, it is actually hiding. So what I want to do is go to the object menu, and I want to go to the where are we at here? We want the text frames options, and so it's object text frame options. See it? And I'm going to ignore text wrap and hit OK, and there you see it came back on. So I essentially am telling this box to ignore the text wrapping. Does that make sense, or did I confuse the bejesus out of you?
There's a lot of information.
A lot.
Yeah, like I was lost at the text field and how you link the 2 boxes.
Well, let's see if I can.
I'm definitely going to have to watch the recording.
Yeah, that's. I think the thing to do is to watch the recording and maybe even rewind it and watch this area, because
that's what I would do.
I'll give you a quick summary. Essentially, what I did was I drew a box, and then I drew another box in the 2 places where I wanted the text to go. With them both, before I selected them, there's a little square that was right down here that I clicked with my arrow. That tool right there. Then I went up to this area at the top of the box and I clicked. And when I did that, it linked these 2 boxes together. So if I click on this, you see where it's linked together?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I did that by clicking here and then clicking about there, and it linked those 2 boxes together. Once the 2 boxes are linked together and they're both selected, I can go up to the type and I can fill both of those selected boxes with placeholder text, which is fake text. And what happens is, essentially, because they're linked, it goes all the way through. And then I took this and put a frame in front of it, put the picture in, selected that, and went and opened up my text wrap. And I chose wrap around bounding box. I deselected make all settings the same, and I offset the top, giving myself additional space to put that box in there. Now, because this is a text box, and because that picture is telling anything that comes in contact with it to hide, I had to select this, and then I went into the object menu, and I went to text frame options, and I told that box to ignore the text wrap. That's really what I did. Okay?
I got you.
All right. Now, I'm really out of time. I really can't do anything more with this. Let me just go to 2 real quickly. Let's go to page 2 real quickly, see if I can do this. Go to the fit page in window. All right, and I'm going to find my pages. Let's go to page 2. All right, and I'm going to draw a box real quickly, and I'm going to put my ads in. So there's my first box, and file place, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go add one and hit OK. There's add one, and you can see that it goes right in there. If I open this box up, let me just open the box up a little bit. You can see that there are no printer's marks. See that? No printer's marks.
Ha ha ha.
That's the whole point. No printer's marks. So now I'm going to go object, fitting, fit frame to content, and I'm going to do, actually, let's see if I can do this. Edit copy, edit paste in place. And let's see if it lets me do it. It did it this time. How about that? I got lucky. I'm going to drag that all the way down to the bottom, get it down there, a little bit more. And now I'm just going to go file, place, and I'm going to go add to and open, and boom, look at that. I mean, what could be easier?
You make it look so easy.
Well, that's because it is easy, and once you get used to it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth.
Right?
Okay? So you just gotta practice with it a little bit, and you gotta try to understand what you're doing. You're taking elements and you're putting elements into a layout that you create. The key is that you create this layout correctly from the very beginning, and you place your elements in place properly using the right kind of files, and then the rest of it is just a matter of printing it out. All right, so do you guys have any questions before I move on? Anything you want to ask me about any of what we did?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
When you the first page that we did, you saved the whole thing like right after you placed the logo. Are we supposed to do that with every single piece that we put in there?
Are you talking about this page here?
Yeah, on the first page. When you put Sky News in there, you saved the page.
Yeah, but you want to know something? You should save the page right away, and you should name it. Now, I named it Sky News Newsletter, okay? You should name it something with your name on it, newsletter. You could call it Bill Sweeney Newsletter, and then when you send it to me, it'll have your name on it. Now, I haven't saved this in a while, so what I will do now is go File, Save, and now I've just essentially updated the document and I've saved the document. So just you got to remember to save periodically, because if anything crashes or happens, you could lose all your work. Okay?
Right.
All right, so here's the final thing I want to show you tonight. Let's go to the View menu, Fit Page and Window. And I think what I'm going to try to do here is go to my layers and hide the trace. There it is. And there is my page and page. Okay. So the last thing that you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to send this to me. And how I'd like you to send it to me is as a PDF. And again, we did this last week, and most of you did very well with this. Most of you had your printer's marks and you had them correct. There were a couple of you, though, that did not have your printer's marks. And you know who you are. But this week, you're going to have the printer's marks, right?
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
so here's all.
I might calm people out, huh?
I'm used to it. Mr. Power does not play.
No,
That's right.
no. I actually, you guys did pretty well. All of the stuff looked pretty good. Again, though, there were a couple that did not include the printer's marks. And you know, the reason I'm doing this, it wasn't that it was wrong for you to send it to me without the printer's marks. The only reason that I did want to see the printer's marks was because we covered it, and I want to make sure that you understood how to go and do it. So it was actually the reason that I wanted to see them. If you didn't put them in, I didn't really have to hit your grade at all, because at that point it was more or less just, it could have been a presentation. And if it were a presentation, you generally don't necessarily have the printer's marks in it, you know? But I did cover it, so that's why I wanted to see it. And I just want you to be aware of the fact that it's incredibly important when you do your PDF that the printer has his marks, okay?
Yes, sir.
So File, and we're going to go, let's see here, Export. And it's going to be Sweeney Week 2 PDF. I'm going to change this. No, that's actually pretty good. I'm going to call this Sweeney, and it's going to be Newsletter, Newsletter. And it is going to be in, I'm going to go to the desktop, and I'm going to find Where was it? InDesign files, correct? Yes. Sweeney newsletter PDF, and you'll put your name on yours. I'm gonna hit save.
Now, can I ask you something?
Yep.
Isn't Adobe the Adobe preset? Isn't that the same as the exporting? When we hit Adobe preset, PDF preset.
File, Adobe PDF presets,
Yes.
high quality print.
High quality print.
Okay, and then the Sweeney newsletter PDF, and hit save.
And then
Yes.
it'll give you your blue mark.
Essentially, yes. You can go that way as well. There's absolutely no problem with that at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Just make sure we hit our marks and bleeds.
Yeah, you're going to just basically leave all this alone. Come into the marks and bleeds.
Right.
You're going to go all printer's marks on this. And let's just leave all the printer's marks on there. And since I actually did do document bleed settings, put the document bleed settings in and include slug area and hit export. Okay, anybody got a problem with what I just did there?
No.
Just check the whole page, basically.
Pretty much. And then there was overset text on these 2 pages. Don't worry about that because it's fake text. Don't worry about that. If it happens, it's fake text. It is not a problem for now. Hit okay.
I know you really like that, Mr. Sweeney.
No, but it's in this case, it's perfectly okay because it is, now it's writing it, and it should come up in a second. There it is. And if I double click on this, let's see if it opens up and looks right. And come on, baby. There is page 2. There it is. And look at all the printer's marks. Hello, everything's fine, right? Open it up. I got only 1 page. Oh, you know why? I bet I know why. I'll bet because I didn't fix, let's go file, Adobe presets, high quality print. Let's go that way and hit save. And I'll bet you any money, yeah, overwrite it. Do you see what I did? Kept this. I want all the pages. Remember before I was working on the ads?
Yeah.
So you see, I didn't go back in and hit all, so it only saved page 2. So that's good. You see how this works? This has a memory. You have to remember to do things. And if something like that happens to you, you have to be able to figure out what happened.
Right.
Okay? So can you see what happened? And was it a big deal?
Nope.
No.
There you go. I like the sound of that. Hit export.
Yeah.
And there is overset text on 1 or 2. Again, don't worry about that. And I'm not going to open it again because we're really out of time. If you have more questions about this, then I guess I will actually open it. So we have the 2 of them up here. And here we go. There it is. And now what happened? It's not giving me.
You didn't check your marks and bleeds.
Evidently, I thought it would have remembered to do that. It didn't. I would have had to gone in and reset it. All right, so I'm not going to bother doing that. You know the bottom line is that we need to put those marks in, and I didn't do it. But you should be sending me something that looks essentially like this, much as possible, and then it should have your printer's marks, and we should be good to go. Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Any final questions, thoughts, anything at all? Because if not, I'm going to come up and I'm going to stop recording. All right? Right now.